Before you listen to another word, I want you to notice something. There is a story you have been carrying your entire life. A story about who you are. A story about what you deserve. A story about what makes you valuable. And the most dangerous part, you never questioned whether that story was true. You simply accepted it. From childhood, you were given a name, a personality, a role to play, and a version of yourself that the world expected you to become. Slowly, you started building an identity around your achievements, your failures, your appearance, your memories, and the opinions of others. And one day, you forgot something incredibly important. You forgot that the person you are trying so hard to protect may not even be real. According to the Buddha, much of human suffering comes from misunderstanding the self. We spend our entire lives defending an image, chasing approval for an identity, and fearing the loss of something that was never permanent. We say, "This is who I am." But the Buddha invites us to look deeper and ask, who is the I behind those words? Is it your thoughts? But your thoughts change every moment. Is it your emotions? But your emotions rise and disappear like waves. Is it your past? But your past is already gone. Then what exactly are you protecting? What exactly are you afraid of losing? The hidden lie is not that you are worthless. The hidden lie is that you are only the limited person your mind has created. And this lie quietly controls your choices. It controls the relationships you accept. It controls the dreams you chase. It controls the moments when you feel anxious, insecure, or not enough. Because when you believe the wrong story about yourself, you build your entire life around protecting a prison you cannot see. But today, we are going to uncover that hidden lie. We are going to understand why your mind created it, how it keeps you trapped, and how the ancient wisdom of Buddhism teaches you to finally see beyond it. Because the moment you stop believing every story your mind tells you, you begin to experience a freedom you have been searching for your entire life, the false identity you mistake for yourself. From the moment you entered this world, people slowly started teaching you who they thought you were supposed to be. Before you were old enough to understand your own thoughts, before you could decide what you liked or disliked, before you could discover your own path, the world began placing labels on you. You were given a name. You were given a family role. You were told what kind of person you were. Maybe people called you intelligent, quiet, emotional, strong, stubborn, sensitive, talented, or difficult. Maybe you were praised for certain things and criticized for others. Slowly, without even realizing it, your mind started collecting these opinions. And those opinions became a story about who you are, a story you began repeating inside yourself, a story that said, "This is me." But the question is, was it really you? Or was it just an identity created from everything you experienced? Think about a small child. A child does not wake up thinking, "I need to prove my worth today." A child does not think, "I am not successful enough." A child does not compare their life with someone else's life. A child simply exists. They laugh when they feel happy. They cry when they feel pain. They explore without worrying about being judged. But as life continues, the mind begins collecting experiences. Someone tells you that you are not good enough. Someone ignores you. Someone compares you with another person. Someone makes you feel like your efforts are never enough. And slowly, your mind begins creating conclusions. Maybe you start believing, "I have to work harder to be accepted. People will only value me if I achieve something. I cannot show my emotions because people may hurt me. I have to become perfect because mistakes make me unworthy." These beliefs may have started as a way to protect yourself. They were created because your mind wanted to keep you safe. But the problem is, a belief created during a painful moment can stay with you long after that moment has passed. You may grow older, you may become wiser, you may change your entire life, but that old belief can still quietly control your decisions. You may become the person who always helps others because deep inside you fear being rejected. You may become the person who always tries to succeed because you believe achievement will finally make you feel complete. You may become the person who hides their struggles because you believe showing weakness will make people leave. You may become the person who constantly seeks approval because somewhere in the past you learned that acceptance feels like safety. But here is something important to understand. These identities were created. They were not born with you. They were built through experiences, and anything that was created can be questioned. The Buddha taught that one of the biggest causes of human suffering is attachment. We become attached to things that are constantly changing. We become attached to our possessions. We become attached to our relationships. We become attached to our opinions. And most importantly, we become attached to an image of ourselves. We create an idea of who we are. Then we spend our entire life protecting that idea. Someone criticizes you, and you feel like they attacked your entire existence. Someone rejects you, and you feel like they rejected your entire identity. Someone succeeds before you, and you feel like their success proves your failure. But why does this happen? Because the mind is not only protecting your happiness, it is protecting the image you have created. Imagine a person wearing a heavy coat for many years. At first, they know they are wearing something. They know the coat is separate from them, but after years of carrying that weight, they forget it is a coat. They begin believing the weight is part of their body. This is what happens with our identities. A belief becomes familiar. A thought becomes repeated. A story becomes comfortable. And eventually, we stop questioning it. We start believing, this is just who I am. But is it really? Think about yourself 5 years ago. Your thoughts were different. Your dreams were different. Your fears were different. Your understanding of life was different. The person you were 5 years ago had a different view of the world. Now think about yourself 10 years from now. You will have different experiences. You will have learned new lessons. You will see life differently. So ask yourself, if you are constantly changing, why do you hold on to one fixed image of yourself? Why do you say, I am just like this? Why do you believe you cannot change? The Buddha showed that everything in life is constantly moving. Your body changes, your emotions change, your thoughts change, your situations change. Nothing remains exactly the same. A river does not remain the same river every second. The water keeps moving. The same way, you are not the same person you were yesterday, but the mind takes temporary experiences and turns them into permanent labels. You fail one time, and the mind says, I am a failure. But failing is something that happened to you. It is not who you are. Someone hurts you, and the mind says, I cannot trust anyone. But being hurt is an experience. It is not your identity. You experience rejection, and the mind says, I am not worthy of love. But rejection is a moment. It is not the truth about your existence. A difficult chapter does not define an entire book. A painful season does not represent your entire life. One person's opinion does not decide your value, but the mind often forgets this. The mind loves simple answers. It creates labels because labels make the world easier to understand. Instead of saying, I am experiencing anxiety right now, the mind says, I am an anxious person. Instead of saying, I made a mistake, the mind says, I am a failure. Instead of saying, I am going through pain. The mind says, I am broken. But there is a huge difference between experiencing something and becoming something. You can experience sadness without becoming sadness. You can experience fear without becoming fear. You can experience failure without becoming a failure. You are the person who notices these experiences. You are the awareness behind them. And this is where the hidden lie begins to disappear. The biggest lie many people believe is not simply, I am not enough. The deeper lie is, one day, after I achieve enough, after I become better, after people finally accept me, then I will finally be worthy of peace. This belief creates a life of endless searching. You chase success. You chase attention. You chase perfection. You chase approval. But every time you reach something, the mind creates a new condition. Just achieve one more thing. Just become a little better. Just receive more recognition. Then you will be happy. But happiness built on conditions never lasts, because the mind will always create another condition. The Buddha did not teach people to create a perfect version of themselves. He taught people to see clearly, to observe the mind, to understand thoughts without becoming trapped by them, to see that beneath all the labels, beneath all the stories, beneath all the fears, there is a deeper awareness, a quiet presence that has been with you through every stage of your life. The child you were, the person you became, the person you are becoming. Everything has changed. But something has always been there, watching all those changes. That awareness is closer to your true nature than any label you have accepted. So instead of constantly asking, how can I become someone worthy? Ask yourself, who am I before I started believing all these stories about myself? Because maybe the person you have been searching for is not someone you need to create. Maybe it is someone you need to uncover. And the moment you stop fighting to become someone else, you finally begin meeting yourself, the hidden lie that has been controlling your entire life. There is a lie that many people carry silently for years. A lie that does not appear suddenly. It grows slowly. It begins with a small thought, a small moment, a small experience. And over time, that small thought becomes a belief. That belief becomes a habit. And that habit begins controlling the way you see yourself, the way you make decisions, and the way you experience life. The lie is this: something is missing from me. Many people spend their entire lives searching because they believe they are incomplete. They believe happiness is waiting somewhere in the future. They believe peace will arrive after they achieve more. They believe they will finally love themselves after they become someone better. So they keep running. Running toward success, running toward recognition, running toward approval, running toward the next achievement. But deep inside, there is still a quiet feeling saying, not yet. You are still not enough. You still need something more. And this is one of the greatest illusions created by the mind. The mind convinces you that you are incomplete, and then it offers you a lifetime of searching as the solution. Think about how often this happens in everyday life. You tell yourself, when I get that job, I will finally feel successful. When I make more money, I will finally feel secure. When people respect me, I will finally feel valuable. When I find the perfect relationship, I will finally feel complete. But then something interesting happens. You achieve the thing you wanted. You reach the goal you were chasing. For a short moment, you feel happiness. You feel relief. You feel like you have finally arrived. But after some time, the mind creates another desire, another goal, another condition, another reason why you are still not enough. Why does this happen? Because the problem was never the thing you were trying to get. The problem was the belief that you were incomplete without it. The Buddha deeply understood this pattern of the human mind. The mind constantly creates a gap between where you are and where you think you should be. It says, you should be different, you should have more, you should already be better. And slowly, you begin rejecting the present moment. You reject who you are today because you are too focused on who you think you should become tomorrow. But life only exists in the present. The person you are waiting to become does not exist yet. The future version of yourself is only an idea created by your imagination. And while you are chasing that imaginary person, you forget the person who is already here. You forget yourself. This is the hidden lie, that your value depends on what you achieve, that your worth depends on what others think, that your peace depends on something outside of you changing. But your worth was never created by success. Success can change your circumstances. It can give you opportunities. It can make life easier in certain ways. But it cannot give you something you never lost: your worth. Many people confuse their achievements with their identity. They say, I am valuable because I succeeded. But what happens when they fail? Do they suddenly become worthless? Of course not. A person's value does not rise and fall with their achievements. A person is not a number on a bank account. A person is not a title. A person is not a position. A person is not the opinion of others. But the mind often creates these connections. It says, if people praise me, I am worthy. If people criticize me, I must be lacking. If I succeed, I matter. If I fail, I am nothing. And this creates a painful way of living. Because now your peace is controlled by things you cannot control. Someone's opinion can change. Your circumstances can change. Your success can change. Your appearance can change. Your abilities can change. Everything outside of you is constantly moving. So if your identity depends on changing things, your peace will always be unstable. The Buddha taught the importance of seeing things clearly, not through fear, not through attachment, not through the stories the mind creates, but through awareness. When you observe your thoughts, you begin noticing something powerful. The thought, I am not enough, is not a fact. It is simply a thought. It appeared in your mind. And because it appeared many times, you started believing it. But repetition does not make something true. If someone tells you the same lie every day for 10 years, it may become familiar. It may become comfortable. It may even feel like part of you. But it is still a lie. This is how many people live. They are not controlled by reality. They are controlled by old beliefs they never questioned. Maybe when you were younger, someone made you feel invisible. Maybe someone compared you with others. Maybe someone made you feel like you had to earn love. And your mind created a survival belief. I need to prove myself. But the belief that once protected you can later become the thing that limits you. A child who felt unseen may become an adult who constantly seeks attention. A child who was criticized may become an adult who fears mistakes. A child who felt rejected may become an adult who desperately tries to be accepted. The pain changes shape, but the belief remains. And this is why inner freedom requires more than changing your external life. You can change your location, you can change your career, you can change your relationships. But if the same belief follows you, the same suffering will continue appearing in different forms. The Buddha did not say, create a perfect life and then you will find peace. He pointed to something deeper. He taught that peace begins when you stop fighting the present moment. When you stop seeing yourself as a problem that needs to be fixed. When you stop treating yourself like a project that is never finished. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to improve. You are allowed to become wiser. But growth should come from acceptance, not from self-rejection. A flower does not grow because it hates being a seed. It grows because growth is its natural expression. In the same way, you do not need to hate yourself into becoming better. You do not need to destroy who you are today to create who you want to become tomorrow. The deepest transformation happens when you stop saying, "I will love myself after I become enough," and you start realizing, "I am enough, and from that place, I can grow." Because when you no longer spend your energy proving your worth, you finally have the energy to live. You stop chasing an imaginary version of yourself. You stop begging the world to confirm your value. You stop carrying the heavy weight of needing to be someone else. And slowly, you begin seeing the truth. The thing you were searching for outside was never missing inside. The hidden lie was never that you were not enough. The hidden lie was believing you had to earn what was already there. Your mind created a prison, then convinced you to live inside it. There is a prison that most people never realize they are living inside. It has no walls. It has no locked doors. There are no chains around your hands. From the outside, everything may look completely normal. You wake up. You go to work. You talk with people. You make decisions. You continue your daily life. But inside your own mind, there may be invisible limits controlling almost everything you do. A prison created not by the world, but by the thoughts you believe. The Buddha often pointed toward a powerful truth. The mind can become your greatest source of freedom or your greatest source of suffering. The same mind that helps you understand life can also create illusions that make you suffer. And one of the strongest illusions is this: the belief that your thoughts are always telling the truth. Most people never question their thoughts. A thought appears, and they immediately accept it. The mind says, "You cannot do this," and you believe it. The mind says, "People will judge you," and you believe it. The mind says, "You are not ready," and you believe it. The mind says, "You have always been this way," and you believe it. But have you ever stopped and asked, who is speaking? Is this reality? Or is this just a pattern created by my past? Because not every thought deserves your attention. Not every thought deserves your belief. Your mind is constantly creating stories. Some stories come from wisdom. Some stories come from fear. Some stories come from old wounds. But the problem begins when you cannot tell the difference. Imagine someone wearing glasses with a dark filter. Everything they see appears darker. The sky looks darker. The people around them look darker. The world feels heavier. But the darkness is not actually outside. It is coming from the filter they are looking through. This is how the mind works. Your beliefs become the filter through which you experience life. If you believe the world is against you, you will search for proof that people are against you. If you believe you are unlucky, you will notice every difficult moment and ignore every blessing. If you believe you are not enough, you will always find reasons to criticize yourself. The mind does not simply show you reality. It shows you the reality you expect to see. And this is where the prison begins. A person experiences one painful event, and the mind creates a rule. Someone rejects you once. The mind says, "Nobody will ever choose me." You fail at something. The mind says, "I am not capable." Someone hurts you. The mind says, "Trusting people is dangerous." A single moment becomes a lifelong belief. A temporary experience becomes a permanent prison. But the Buddha understood something important. A thought is not a command. A feeling is not a fact. A memory is not your identity. You can have a thought without following it. You can feel fear without obeying it. You can remember pain without allowing it to control your future. But many people live as if every thought is an instruction. Their mind says, stay comfortable. So they avoid growth. Their mind says, do not take risks. So they avoid opportunities. Their mind says, protect yourself. So they build walls around their heart. Slowly, they create a smaller and smaller life. Not because life became smaller, but because their beliefs became smaller. This is how the mind creates a prison. First, it creates a limitation. Then it repeats that limitation. Then it convinces you that the limitation is who you are. A person says, I am just not confident. But confidence is not something you either have or do not have. It is something that grows through experience. A person says, I am not a creative person. But creativity is not a personality type. It is a natural ability that becomes stronger when you allow yourself to explore. A person says, I am too old to change, but change is the nature of life itself. The tree does not refuse to grow because it was once a seed. The river does not stop moving because it remembers where it started. Everything in nature changes, yet humans often create a fixed image of themselves and say, this is who I am. But what if that sentence is the very thing keeping you trapped? What if the identity you are defending is the same identity preventing you from becoming free? Many people protect their limitations because limitations feel familiar. Freedom can feel uncomfortable. Growth can feel uncertain. A new version of yourself can feel strange. The mind often chooses familiar suffering over unfamiliar freedom because the familiar feels safe, even when it hurts. Someone may stay in a situation that destroys their peace because leaving requires courage. Someone may continue believing they are not worthy because changing that belief feels frightening. Someone may continue seeking approval because living without it feels unknown. The mind says, at least this is what you know. But what you know is not always what is good for you. A cage can become comfortable when you have lived inside it for a long time. And this is why awareness is so powerful. Awareness is the moment you step outside the prison and finally see the walls. Before awareness, you are controlled by your thoughts. After awareness, you can observe your thoughts. You begin noticing, my mind is creating fear right now. My mind is comparing me with someone else. My mind is bringing back an old memory. My mind is telling me a story, and something changes. You are no longer trapped inside the thought. You are observing the thought. This small shift creates a powerful freedom, because the person who observes the mind is greater than the mind itself. The sky does not become damaged because a storm appears. The ocean does not become destroyed because waves rise. In the same way, your true nature is not damaged by temporary thoughts and emotions. Pain can visit you. Fear can visit you. Doubt can visit you. But they do not own you. They are visitors, not the owner of your home. The Buddha taught that suffering grows when we cling to what constantly changes. Your thoughts change, your emotions change, your circumstances change. But when you attach your entire identity to these changing things, you create unnecessary suffering. The goal is not to destroy the mind. The goal is to understand it. A wise person does not fight every thought. A wise person learns which thoughts deserve attention. They learn to watch the mind without becoming controlled by it. Because the moment you realize, I am not trapped by my thoughts, the prison begins to disappear. The walls were never made of stone. They were made of beliefs, and the key was never outside of you. It was awareness. The moment you stop blindly believing every story your mind creates, you begin walking toward true freedom. Because your mind may have created the prison, but your awareness was always the one holding the key. You are not the voice in your head or the pain you carry. There is a voice inside your mind that has been speaking to you for years. It speaks when you wake up. It speaks when you make decisions. It speaks when you look at yourself. It speaks when you remember your past. Sometimes it encourages you, but many times it criticizes you. It reminds you of your mistakes. It tells you what you cannot do. It compares your life with someone else's life. It brings back moments you wish you could forget. And because this voice has been with you for so long, you assume it must be you. You think, this is who I am. But the Buddha pointed toward a deeper understanding. The voice inside your mind is something you experience, but it is not the entirety of who you are. There is a difference between having a thought and being that thought. There is a difference between experiencing pain and becoming that pain. There is a difference between remembering your past and allowing your past to define you. But most people never see this difference. They become completely connected to whatever appears inside their mind. A thought appears, I am not good enough, and they accept it as truth. A feeling appears, I feel alone, and they believe, I am alone. A memory appears, I was hurt before, and they decide, I will always be hurt. The mind creates a sentence, and you build your entire identity around it. But what if the sentence is not the truth? What if it is only a moment passing through your awareness? Think about the sky. Sometimes the sky is clear. Sometimes clouds appear. Sometimes there are dark storms. But does the sky become the storm? No. The storm passes through the sky. The sky remains. In the same way, thoughts and emotions pass through your awareness. Some thoughts are peaceful. Some thoughts are painful. Some emotions feel beautiful. Some emotions feel overwhelming. But they are all passing experiences. They are not the whole of who you are. The problem begins when we hold on to temporary experiences and turn them into permanent identities. A person experiences anxiety during a difficult period. The mind says, I am an anxious person. A person goes through heartbreak. The mind says, I am someone who will never find love. A person fails at something important. The mind says, I am a failure. But notice what happened. The experience was temporary, but the label became permanent. The mind took something that happened and turned it into something you believe you are. This is where suffering becomes deeper, because now you are not only dealing with pain, you are fighting against an identity built around that pain. Imagine someone carrying a heavy bag. Inside the bag are old memories, past mistakes, regrets. Words people said, moments of rejection, moments of disappointment. At first, carrying the bag feels necessary. The person thinks, I need to remember these things so I can protect myself. But years pass, and they are still carrying the same bag. The people who hurt them are no longer around. The situation has already ended. The moment has already disappeared. But the weight remains. Why? Because the mind keeps replaying what happened. The Buddha understood that suffering often comes from holding on to what has already passed. The past itself is not hurting you. The memory of the past is. The event happened once, but the mind can make you experience it hundreds of times. You replay conversations. You imagine different outcomes. You ask, why did this happen to me? What if I had done something differently? Why was I not enough? And slowly, you begin living in a place that no longer exists. The past becomes a room you keep returning to. But every time you enter that room, you forget something important. You are not the person who experienced that moment anymore. You have changed. You have learned. You have grown. The person who suffered that pain and the person observing it today are not exactly the same, but the mind tries to convince you otherwise. It says, remember what happened. Remember who hurt you. Remember why you should be afraid. The mind believes it is protecting you. But sometimes protection becomes another form of imprisonment. Sometimes the walls you build to avoid pain also prevent you from experiencing joy. A person who was rejected may reject themselves before anyone else gets the chance. A person who was criticized may never try because failure feels too painful. A person who was betrayed may never open their heart again. The original pain was one moment, but the protection created afterward becomes a lifelong limitation. This is why the Buddha taught the importance of observing without attachment. Not every thought needs to be followed. Not every emotion needs to control your actions. You can notice sadness without becoming sadness. You can notice anger without becoming anger. You can notice fear without allowing fear to decide your future. When you create distance between yourself and your thoughts, something incredible happens. You begin discovering a quiet space within yourself, a space where thoughts come and go, 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 a space where thoughts come and go. This space is awareness, and awareness is one of the deepest teachings in Buddhist wisdom. Most people spend their lives trying to control every thought. They fight their mind. They argue with their emotions. They become frustrated when negative feelings appear, but fighting the mind often gives the mind more power. What you resist, you often strengthen. Instead of fighting every thought, learn to observe. Instead of saying, "Why am I thinking this?" say, "I notice this thought is appearing." Instead of saying, "Why do I feel this way?" say, "I notice this emotion is moving through me." This simple change creates freedom, because you stop becoming the experience, you become the observer of the experience, and the observer has power. A person standing on a mountain can see the entire landscape, but a person trapped inside a valley can only see what is directly around them. Most people live inside the valley of their thoughts. They see one fear, one mistake, one painful memory, and they believe that is their entire reality. But awareness takes you higher. It allows you to see the bigger picture. You realize, I have thoughts, but I am not my thoughts. I have emotions, but I am not my emotions. I have a past, but I am not my past. I have experienced pain, but pain is not my identity. This understanding can completely change the way you live, because when you stop identifying with every thought, you stop being controlled by every thought. When you stop carrying every old wound, you create space for healing. When you stop believing every story your mind tells you, you finally begin experiencing life directly. The Buddha never promised a life without challenges. Pain is part of being human. Loss is part of being human. Change is part of being human. But suffering increases when we believe, this pain is who I am. Your pain is something you experienced. It is not the definition of your existence. Your past is something you lived through. It is not a prison you must live inside forever. Your thoughts are something your mind creates. They are not the final truth about you. You are much deeper than the voice in your head. You are much greater than the moments that hurt you. You are much more than the labels you collected throughout your life. And the moment you truly understand this, something inside you becomes lighter, because you no longer have to fight yourself. You no longer have to escape yourself. You no longer have to become someone else to finally feel peace. You simply begin returning to the awareness that was there all along. The quiet presence beneath every thought. The stillness beneath every emotion. The part of you that was never broken and was never lost. The moment you stop chasing a new self, you discover your true self. For most of your life, you have probably been trying to become someone more successful, someone more confident, someone more respected, someone who finally feels peaceful. You keep looking at yourself and thinking, one day I will become the person I want to be. One day I will finally feel complete. One day I will finally be happy with myself. But what if the greatest mistake was not that you were not becoming enough? What if the mistake was believing that you were incomplete from the beginning? What if the person you have been desperately trying to find was never missing? The Buddha pointed toward a profound truth. The search for yourself can become the very thing that prevents you from seeing yourself. Because sometimes the mind creates a problem and then spends a lifetime trying to solve the problem it created. The mind tells you, you are not enough. Then it says, now spend your life trying to become enough. It creates the wound. Then it creates the journey to fix the wound. And you spend years chasing something that was never truly lost. Think about how often people postpone their peace. They say, I will be happy when I achieve my goals. I will be peaceful when my problems disappear. I will love myself when I become better. But life does not work that way. There will always be another goal. There will always be another challenge. There will always be another version of yourself you imagine you need to become. If your peace depends on everything becoming perfect, you will spend your entire life waiting, because perfection is an idea created by the mind. Reality is always changing. People change. Situations change. Your body changes. Your emotions change. Your thoughts change. Trying to create a permanent state in an impermanent world creates suffering. The Buddha did not teach people to escape life. He taught people to see life clearly, to understand that everything changes, and because everything changes, we do not need to hold on to a fixed image of ourselves. You are not a finished product. You are not a statue that needs to be carved into perfection. You are a living process. You are constantly growing, learning, and transforming. The problem is that many people reject the present version of themselves while chasing a future version. They look at who they are today and think, I am not enough yet. They treat the present moment like a waiting room. They believe their real life will begin later, after success, after healing, after approval, after becoming someone better. But the present moment is not an obstacle between you and your future. The present moment is where your entire life is happening. And when you reject yourself today, you reject the only version of yourself that actually exists. Imagine a seed. A seed does not look at itself and say, I am worthless because I am not a tree yet. It does not hate itself because it has not reached its final form. It simply grows. Slowly, naturally, without judgment. But humans often do the opposite. We look at our current stage and criticize ourselves for not being at the next stage. We compare our beginning with someone else's middle. We compare our struggles with someone else's achievements. We compare our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight moments. And then we wonder why we feel exhausted. The problem is not always that we need to improve. The problem is that we believe improvement must come from self-rejection. But real transformation does not come from hating who you are. It comes from understanding who you are. A flower does not grow because it hates being a seed. It grows because growth is its natural expression. In the same way, you do not need to destroy yourself to become better. You do not need to punish yourself into becoming wiser. You do not need to constantly prove your worth. Growth becomes easier when it comes from acceptance. When you accept yourself, you are not saying, "I will never change." You are saying, "I do not need to hate myself in order to grow." This is a completely different way of living, because when you stop fighting yourself, you free the energy that was trapped in that struggle. The energy you use to spend worrying about people's opinions, the energy you use to spend comparing yourself, the energy you use to spend proving that you matter. Suddenly, that energy becomes available for living, for creating, for loving, for experiencing the present moment. The Buddha taught about letting go of attachment. Most people think letting go means losing something, but true letting go means releasing the things that were creating unnecessary suffering, letting go of the false identity, letting go of the endless need to prove yourself, letting go of the belief that you must become someone else before you deserve peace, because the person you are trying to become is often built from the same fears you are trying to escape. You say, "I want to become successful so people will respect me." But underneath, that desire may be the fear. "Without success, I am not valuable." You say, "I want everyone to love me." But underneath that may be the fear. "If people reject me, I am not worthy." You say, "I want to become perfect." But underneath that may be the fear. "If I make mistakes, I cannot accept myself." The Buddha invites you to look deeper, not just at what you want, but why you want it. Because sometimes the goal is not the problem. The attachment behind the goal is the problem. You can pursue success without believing you are worthless without it. You can build relationships without believing someone else completes you. You can improve yourself without believing you are broken. This is the balance between growth and acceptance. You continue becoming wiser, but you stop believing you are incomplete. You continue learning, but you stop believing you are not enough. You continue changing, but you stop abandoning yourself. And this is where true freedom begins. When you stop chasing a better identity, you begin discovering the awareness beneath all identities, the part of you that does not need constant approval, the part of you that does not disappear when you fail, the part of you that remains present through every change. Your achievements come and go, your possessions come and go, people's opinions come and go, your emotions rise and fall, your thoughts appear and disappear. But the awareness that notices all of this remains. That awareness is where peace lives. Many people search for themselves in the outside world. They search through achievements, through relationships, through recognition, through possessions. But the deeper truth is, you cannot find yourself by collecting more things. You discover yourself by removing what was never truly you, the fears, the labels, the stories, the false beliefs, the endless need to prove your value. When these layers begin falling away, something simple becomes clear. You were never the person your fears created. You were never the mistakes you made. You were never the opinions others placed upon you. You were never the limits your mind repeated. You were always something deeper, something quieter, something more peaceful. And maybe the greatest realization is this: you do not need to become someone worthy of love. You do not need to become someone worthy of peace. You do not need to become someone worthy of being accepted. You only need to stop believing the story that says you are not already worthy, because the moment you stop chasing a new self, you finally meet your true self. And the truth you discover is not something you create. It is something that was waiting beneath everything you believed. The lie disappears when you finally see the truth. After everything we have explored, there is one final truth you need to remember. The greatest battle you have been fighting was never against the world. It was never against other people. It was never even against your circumstances. The deepest battle was the one happening inside your own mind. The battle between who you truly are and the false version of yourself that you were taught to believe. For years, you may have carried a story that said you were not enough. A story that said you needed to achieve more before you could feel worthy. A story that said you needed everyone's approval before you could accept yourself. A story that said your past mistakes, your failures, and your painful experiences were proof of who you are. But now you can begin to see something different. A story is not the same as truth. A thought is not the same as reality. A painful experience is not the same as your identity. The mind creates images. The mind creates labels. The mind creates fears. But beneath all of these things, there is something untouched, something peaceful, something that has always been present. Your true awareness. The Buddha taught that suffering often begins when we hold tightly to things that are constantly changing. We hold on to our thoughts. We hold on to our emotions. We hold on to our past. We hold on to an image of who we think we should be. And because everything changes, we constantly feel like we are losing something. But when you learn to let go, you discover that you were never losing yourself. You were only losing the illusion that you had to become someone else to be complete, the illusion that you had to earn your worth, the illusion that peace was waiting somewhere in the future. The truth is, peace was never something you needed to find. It was something you needed to stop blocking. Like the sun hidden behind clouds, your inner peace was never destroyed. It was simply covered by layers of fear, comparison, and false beliefs. And the moment those layers begin to disappear, you start seeing yourself differently. You stop asking, "Why am I not like them?" You start asking, "Why did I forget who I already am?" You stop chasing every person's approval. You stop measuring your value through achievements. You stop punishing yourself for being human. You begin walking through life with a different understanding. You realize that you can grow without hating yourself. You can improve without believing you are broken. You can change without rejecting who you are today. This is the freedom the Buddha pointed toward. Not becoming a perfect person, not creating a flawless identity, but becoming free from the constant need to prove that you are enough. Because the person who is always trying to become worthy has forgotten that worth was never something to earn. It was something to recognize. So the next time your mind tells you, "You are behind, you are not enough, you need to become someone else," pause for a moment. Observe that thought. Do not fight it. Do not fear it. Simply notice it. And remind yourself, this is only a thought passing through my mind. It is not the truth of who I am. Because you are not the voice that criticizes you. You are not the mistakes you made. You are not the pain you experienced. You are not the labels others gave you. You are the awareness that can see all of these things. And that awareness has been with you through every chapter of your life, through every success, through every failure, through every loss, through every transformation. The world may continue changing. People may continue having opinions. Life may continue bringing unexpected moments. But when you know who you truly are, You no longer need everything around you to be perfect in order to feel peace. You become like the ocean. Waves may rise, storms may come, the surface may become chaotic, but deep within, there is stillness, there is silence, there is peace. The hidden lie was never that you were not enough. The hidden lie was believing that you had to become something more before you could finally accept yourself. And now you know the truth. You were never searching for a better version of yourself. You were searching for freedom from the false story you believed about yourself. So release the story, release the labels, release the fear, and return to the person who was there before the world told you who you had to become, because beneath everything you thought you were, there has always been something deeper, something wiser, something peaceful, something truly you.